Hello everyone, Forest Focus as Nottingham Forest look to go again in the final two games of the Premier League season, starting with West Ham on Sunday. Is the Champions League dream actually dead? We'll discuss that along with the latest on Taiwo Awoniyi, some transfer chat, and the 4 Premier League award nominations for the Reds in the company of, first of all, Greg Mitchell. Greg, afternoon, how are you?
Paranoid my speaker isn't working, but I'm good. Everything keeps unplugging and it's been a bit of a wild morning, so I'm all right.
Yeah, well, we can hear you fine. We'll continue the tradition that started last week of calamitous match previews. We're already 8 minutes late, so apologies for that. And also, Ian Finch, a survivor of last week's calamitous preview.
I know. I'm surprised I'm back, given the absolute disaster that it was. Yeah,
it was not your fault though, so that's why you retain your place. It was just one of those things. So, like I say, lots on the agenda. We'll start with Taiwo. We'll do some awards chat. We'll do match preview, and then we'll do some transfer stuff at the end. So lots to get through. Let's start with Taiwo. It sounds like good news, Greg. I saw Danny Taylor tweeting that he's on the mend, and a couple of other reports about that. A very, very scary situation. What's your take on it overall? And I think it's okay to branch into the stuff about the offside rule and everything we saw that happen. So a free reign at the Taiwo situation, whatever you'd like to say.
A free reign, are you sure?
No,
don't worry. Don't worry. It was just a real sad, shocking, chain of events, wasn't it? So many things in such a short few minutes kind of went wrong, and this offside rule clearly has to change. We've been talking about it for a year or so, that things are dangerous in that sense, and you can't blame the assistant referee because they were doing exactly what they're trained and told to do. But I sit lower Bridgeford behind the goal pretty much, and you could see it was offside. I was actually thinking, if he scores, I'm not even going to cheer. So if it's that obvious, common sense has to prevail. And, the recommendations and the rules from the powers that be have to change. But the main thing is that as terrible as it is, and it was, it does sound like he's on the mend, and that's the most important thing. But I suppose as important is it shouldn't be allowed to happen again, and it shouldn't be a case of changing it next year or what have you. They should be talking about it this week and saying it can't be happening this weekend because it's dangerous. These professional footballers, they're not like me playing Power League on a Thursday or anything. These are serious machines, and they can really damage themselves, as Taiwo's seen. But it just shows how strong the guy is, that he's already, up and about by the sounds of it, which is just incredible news and the best we could have hoped for.
Yeah. The club are reportedly holding an internal review into what happened, although they've issued a statement that's already blamed people. But we'll see what that brings from it. What's your take on it, Ian, when it comes to the offside and everything around Taiwo?
As Greg said, really, I mean, you can't blame Sian Massey for not putting a flag up because that's what she's told not to do. I mean, it's the rule that's the problem, not the officials operating it. Same with VAR to a certain extent. There's bits in VAR we all love to change that we think's ridiculous, like not being able to review second yellow cards and things. And the people are just following the rules. It was a horrific injury. It was obviously quite worrying when we saw the tweet about him being put into a coma, but I assume that's just to help him heal and to stop him doing himself any more damage until they could complete the operation. But yeah, great to see him back. Well, getting back to good health, hopefully. And maybe that might spur the lads on this weekend, and they might just want to go out there and win it for Taiwo.
I've been in communications with a doctor whose wife works in intensive care, and he did say it was procedural of putting him in a coma, so it was the next step in his recovery. And sounds like he's got a long road back, certainly, with no set timeline. So yeah, we'll wish him well and hope to see him again in a Forest shirt. That's probably a conversation for another day. Let's talk about awards then. It's pretty mad that we've got so many Forest people up for awards. Nuno nominated for Manager of the Year. Also got Gibbs-White and Chris Wood for Player of the Year, and Anthony Elanga for Young Player of the Year. So we'll just go through them all, have a quick chat, who we think's actually gonna win them. Manager of the season, Thomas Frank, Greg's favourite team.
Get a grip. How is he in there?
He's done a good job.
Doing what?
I'll read the rest out.
Nice hair.
Nah.
Thomas Frank, Eddie Howe, Nuno, Vitor Pereira at Wolves, and Arne Slot at Liverpool. Just before we talk about them individually, Greg, I mean, it is mad that we've got not one person, but 4 people nominated for big Premier League awards, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a sign of how great our season's been. I'm excited to talk about the managerial nominations when you're ready to let me go. But yeah, it's great news. It's great news, and it shows the craziest thing for me is my player of the season so far isn't even on that list. So it does just show how good they've done and how every single one of us seems to have a different opinion, but it's a positive opinion. I remember being at games towards the end of the season where people are voting for player of the year as a bit of a joke just because of how poor they've been. So, you know, this is just a sign of how good it's been.
Yeah. I'll let you loose on manager of the year in one moment. Good to have almost 200 people with us already. Do us a favour and hit like if you haven't already. Pat says that Frank hasn't done enough to be in there. I'd have put Unai Emery in there myself for the Champions League run that they had. Or a Glasner as well has had a great season. But yeah, go on, Greg, then. Who's going to win? Who should win out of those candidates?
Well, Arne Slot's just won it with Klopp's team, hasn't he? He's just had a great team that was already there, and he's won the league, possibly the poorest. And I do genuinely believe this as well. There's not been a title contender, have they? They were so lucky that Man City fell off for like 3 months, and they've kind of just limped to the line. If they'd have had an unbeaten season or something really special or won that, then, you know, done a treble or anything. But they were always set to win the league, and it's not his team, it's Klopp's team. It's next season and the season after for him. If he does it, then it can be his. Nuno's took us from 17th and relegation favourites to European football. I don't see how anyone else contends with that. I think it ends there for me. I really don't see how someone else. They talk about the Bournemouth manager, maybe they could finish 7th or 8th. They had better seasons than us the previous season. So it's all about this season and what he's done and what he's come from. So for me, it's Nuno without question.
Who's going to win it before I go to Ian, though?
Slot, of course he is.
Go on, Ian. What do you think about the manager of the year?
Yeah, exactly as Greg said. It's like it's basically it's Jurgen Klopp's team. He brought Chiesa in, who's done nothing. You know, and the fact is that we've played them twice this season. They couldn't beat us, so therefore Nuno's got one over on him anyway. But the problem is with these votes is I believe more if it's like the football writers that pick the manager of the season, I'll take that one because I think there's more chance that Nuno will win that one. But when it comes to these votes that are by the public, they just vote for their own guys anyway. It's like goal of the month on Match of the Day. They're like this last weekend they had McAllister win goal of the month for April, which was just a standard shot from outside the 12-yard box, whereas Elanga's 80-yard run finished 3rd. And it's like what happens is these fans will turn on the TV, see that one of their players is nominated, and they'll click and vote for them, even if it goes in off their arse. So, hang on, my dog's about to go crazy. So the same thing will happen with this. All the Liverpool fans and all the overseas Premier League fans will all vote for Slot, and Nuno won't win it, but he should. And my dog's having a right tear up.
It's not too annoying. It's good. We've got like live action in the background.
Right.
But it's mental.
I'll have to mute you for a minute till the dog calms down.
I'll go and get him in a sec.
Okay. Right. Yeah, I think Slot will win. And Ian makes a great point. It is a popularity vote.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, I do think Howe's done a great job to get Newcastle a trophy after all history. I'm enjoying watching Ian trying to bring the dog in. Oh, dear.
I'm back.
Was it a squirrel or a cat or what?
He's a cavapoo, but he outruns me every time.
No, what was the issue? What was the barking about?
There's a dog at the back fence, and that dog goes mental, and they just shout at each other and try and get each other through the gap in the fence.
Well, it was more entertaining than what I was saying about manager of the year. So let's move on to player of the year. Where's the player of the year? Here's the player of the year. So the contenders are Morgan Gibbs-White, Ryan Gravenberch, Alexander Isak, Brian Mbeumo, Declan Rice, Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, and Chris Wood. It is interesting, Greg. I mean, fantastic Gibbs-White's in, but would you have picked a different Forest player to be in there instead of him or Wood?
Personally, I've just been delighted with how great Nico Williams has been for us. I've loved watching him. Maybe it's just because I do kind of sit on that left-hand side all right and watch him going up and down, but I've loved Nico Williams this year and I've loved Milenkovic. Chris Wood deserves, 20 goals a season in the Premier League. Of course he's going to be in there. And Gibbs-White's the Premier League star of the future by all means, isn't he? So, yeah, I'm not surprised he's in there. But as good as he's been, he's not my player of the year. So, yeah, I'd have had another one personally. But I think that's probably one where I would give it a Liverpool player. Ooh, but, yeah, maybe Salah, because everyone kind of thought he was done, didn't he? And then he's gone and done that. But I don't know.
I think it'll be Salah. Yeah, I think it'll be Salah. I think Gibbs-White has had a great year. I think we were in danger a couple of weeks ago, or talking him down a bit as what a quality player is when we were talking about Man City. I think he is class, but Milenkovic is probably my player of the season. What about you, Ian? Salah to win it, and thoughts on the Forest team?
Yeah, and I think Salah deserves it, unlike the managerial one we were discussing. As far as Forest players concerned, Milenkovic for me has transformed our defence. So I think for me, he's been my player of the year, closely followed by Olorena or Nico Williams.
Young player of the season. There's some good names in here, but some of these must be older. What's the cut-off? Like 25? Liam Delap, Anthony Elanga, Ryan Gravenberch, Dean Howson, Cole Palmer, João Pedro, who feels like he's been around forever, Morgan Rogers, William Saliba. I thought William Saliba was like 26. I'm going to have to Google some ages where you give your thoughts on this. So take it away, Greg, on that.
You can't really give it to Lap, can you? I mean, he's in a relegation team.
That makes him better, though.
Well, how many has he scored and set up? I don't know.
12.
Cole Palmer's been dropped for half the season, it seems. I'd give Elanga a shout on that one. At least top 3.
William Saliba's 24, and João Pedro is 23. God, he must have signed when he was young for Watford. Strange sidetrack. Ian, thoughts on that award?
I think they'll give it Howson as a little leaving gift, to be honest. Anthony's done well. I don't understand how Cole Palmer's in there when he's had a ranked season compared to last year. But yeah, I could see that probably going to Dean Howson.
Palmer did start the season on fire, I guess. If Dean Howson's in there, surely Murillo should be in there, shouldn't he? I think they've been neck and neck, I would say, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair shake. Right, let's take a word for the Trent navigation. I do think Cole Palmer's had a really good first half of the season, but second half he fell off a cliff with Chelsea a bit, didn't he? But he is still a top player. Right, a word for the Trent navigation. Obviously, Sunday, West Ham away. It is on the big screen because all our games are on Sky at the moment, so you can enjoy it at the Nav if you don't have a ticket to the Olympic Stadium. 2 huge outdoor screens, food on throughout the building, and indoor screens as well. So free entry if you can beat the queue, and cask ales from £4. Great place to watch if you're not going to the Olympic Stadium, like I assume you are, Greg.
Yeah, got a bus, funnily enough, leaving the Trent Nav. 8:30 in the morning, Sunday morning. So
when did this bus side hustle start?
Side hustle? Just trying to make sure people get there and back in time. Since the railway system became so absolutely garbage, really. So yeah, it's good. Get down towards Hackney Wick nice and early and have a few lemonades as it's a Sunday, and then watch us win, hopefully.
Hopefully. Let's chat about it a bit more then. I mean, my state of mind, it's quite liberating actually to not be worried about Champions League because I'm not expecting it at all now. It'll be a massive bonus if it goes to the last day for me, just because of how we're playing and the other teams are absolutely on fire. Have you given up on it or not, Ian?
No, I'm not expecting Villa or Chelsea to do us any favours tonight. I'm more thinking that City, after playing the FA Cup tomorrow, they've got Bournemouth on Tuesday night, who have still got half a sniff of Europe, especially if Palace win the FA Cup. So I don't think that's a given. And then they're away at Fulham on the last day. So I think City might be the ones to drop out of it rather than Villa. And then Chelsea, obviously, we get them on the last day of the season. If we win at West Ham, then it's in our hands again. If City balls it up. Yeah,
it does feel unlikely. How are you feeling about it, Greg? You're very optimistic always. You giving up or not?
No, not at all. Can you spell it out for me? If City win on Saturday, are we guaranteed Europa?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So we obviously want City to win just as a little backup.
The backup plan,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, anything can happen. We've clearly had a terrible month and a half. Were we 6 points clear of 10th when we were at the beginning of April? But we've still got a good chance. It's so close. We only need one of them to slip up if we win our games, and happy days we're on. Well, win both the games and we're pretty much there, aren't we?
Are we? I can't even work it out.
Well, who's Villa got last game?
I'll put it up.
Man United.
Man United. I think. So Villa play tonight against Spurs, who it sounds like are just not going to risk anyone after Kulusevski got injured. So I'd be shocked if Villa don't win that at home. Then they go to Man U on the last day. Chelsea have got Man U tonight as well. So I'd expect them to win. I don't know if Amorim's going to be slightly more attacking in his team selection, but they're at home, so you'd expect them to win. And then, as Ian says, Man City got Bournemouth, then Fulham, and obviously Newcastle aren't unsafe at all either. They've got Arsenal and Everton, so it feels unlikely, but you never know. I mean, can you see us winning this game at West Ham, Ian, given how we're playing versus their awful season? How are you feeling about the game?
I'd like to think so, just because I think the pressure's off a little bit now that we're guaranteed Europe, and also by Sunday we could be guaranteed the Europa League. So I think that takes the pressure off a bit, because that's still an unbelievable achievement. But I think it's win or bust, really. You just got to go for it, and I think that's what Nuno will probably tell him. It's like, shackles off. Here we go. Let's not just hang around and play defensively. We need to go at them. I think we need proper balance on the left and right wings. I'm quietly confident. But then I had a dream last night. I don't dream about Forest results every time, but I had a dream last night where we went 1-0 up and it was 1-1 in the end. So there you go.
So what about you, Greg? Your dream ends well.
Yeah, I once then went down the bookies because I had a dream that Forest were going to win 4-0 at Tottenham when we were in the doldrums, and that didn't happen. So don't believe my dreams. I lost a lot of money on that. Oh, by the way, this is the terror. This is the one that's making all the noise.
Quiet as anything.
Very well behaved now.
Very sorry. Here we go.
What about you, Greg? Can you see us winning these games or not?
We always have a massive last game of the season at home, don't we? And the way that happens is we beat West Ham, so I can see it happening. Yeah, we're down on a luck. We're down on injuries. We are absolutely fighting. The players are going to be affected by Taiwo, just like the fans are. They. I know we've been saying it every week, but they're really, really going to want this. And it's not a game we're going to expect to win. And I think when we've got our backs up like that, that's when we're at our best.
I do wonder, I mean, it's not a nice thing to say, but the Taiwo factor, the players would have been so moved by that, because he seems like such a good guy, quite a quiet guy. He's not really featured in the social media with Aina and Elanga and all that stuff. He likes in the background, gets his head down and all that kind of stuff. So
look at the way they all reacted when he scored that goal at Wolves.
Yeah,
they love him for bits,
Yeah, that's a good point. So I think that might be a factor. My thought reservation is we're just not playing very well, and that's probably selected in Ian's team selection. We'll come to that in one second. What about West Ham as opponents, Ian? I mean, they've been awful, haven't they? Is this an opportunity?
Yeah, I don't think you need to read too much into last weekend, because everybody beats United these days, don't they? Obviously, they've got threats of sort of Bowen and Souček, and Wan-Bissaka's looking great. But there's listening to your preview yesterday, there's obviously a lot of unrest there. There's a lot of players that want out, that sort of down tools already, really. So I'd fancy us if we go for it that we could get something definitely.
And the other thing to say is we're recording this obviously before Spurs and before Villa and Chelsea play, and if one of those results drops for us, then what an incentive that would be. And I really hope we'd be right up for it and play well then if we do get a lucky or get a break there, certainly. Right, we should go to teams, but as usual, I haven't even loaded them into the system. Give us your thoughts on West Ham, Greg, just to pad out for me nicely.
Well, I could give you your thoughts on the stadium if you want. It's the worst football, the worst football stadium I've ever been to. There's not a good view there. It's horrendous. But we've had some bright moments against West Ham, but unfortunately not the results. So I don't think they'll even sell out on Sunday, will they? I think even the fans are kind of giving up with this season. And if you have ever been, when I went for the Olympics and it was incredible, and see what they've done to make it a football stadium is just horrendous. So you can see, well, I am sidelining there, but you can see like with Everton, they're moving to this fantastic new stadium built for football and their fans can't wait. And it's fantastic to see that Goodison's going to stay there for at least a while. But gosh, I'm sure West Ham fans would love for the Bowling to be back because it isn't a very nice place to watch football, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is pretty awful. Right, let's go to some teams. Greg sent me his in a little bit too late. It's not his fault. I was a bit busy getting ready for this, but this is roughly what Greg's team would be. Oh, hang on, switch the background.
I'm in centre of defence there.
Right, Greg's team has Murillo in it instead of Morato, so it's unchanged from the last game, but Murillo in. So Sells, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo, who we wait for fitness news on. Obviously, Nuno's press will be shortly, so we'll find out more on that. But if he's fit, Murillo, Williams, Sangare, Anderson, Dominguez, Gibbs-White, Elanga, those two wingers are probably interchangeable, and Chris Wood up front. Thoughts there, Greg?
Just going with the kind of strongest 11 for now. I thought Sangare's deserved his spot. I thought he played quite well against Leicester. He's really good at getting the ball out from his feet and to one of our players, which we're going to need because, again, we're going to let West Ham have a lot of the possession, and then Yates is there to come in if and when needed. But as disappointing as Leicester was, I don't think we had much choice on a different starting 11. So I kind of liked it, and I'd go with it again.
Just on Morato, James says in the chat, Morato makes me nervous. Obviously, he was bad against Villa, I think it's fair to say, and he had his moments against Leicester, and one of them, he didn't cover himself in glory for a couple of goals and incidents. If Murillo's out, would you go Bolly? Would you even go Zach Abbott, Greg?
No, I'd put Morato. I'd keep Morato in. I would. Yeah, he's had a couple of, but that's just kind of rust, isn't it? I think he's a good player, and he's probably our best option. I would definitely put him in. I
think you have to put him in as well. It's too much for Zach Abbott to play. He did really well at Wembley, but it's too much for asking. Bolly and Milenkovic were a bit too similar profile in terms of neither's the quickest. So then Morato didn't look the quickest either the other day. So yeah, I would back him. Right, let's go to Ian's team. I think this is Ian's team. Yeah, it is. And then I'll do mine. Shaking it up a bit here. Sells in goal, Milenkovic, Murillo, Morato, fitness dependent again. So back three, wing backs, Aina and Williams, Gibbs-White and Anderson in midfield, Elanga, Sosa and Wood. That's a quite a big shake up there, Ian. What are your thoughts?
Just looking at the fact that Brentford away, Everton away, they went through at the back. We won those games. Like I said, it's all about. I just think it's about getting at them down the wings. So if we can release Williams and Aina a little further up the pitch, I think it's important that Elanga's on the right wing because I don't think he's effective on the left. So Sosa's sort of just he hasn't had the greatest amount of chances, or he hasn't necessarily done great stuff when he's been playing. So he's sort of my only sort of worry. I'd like to get Dominguez in here somewhere, but I just think he's wasted on the left wing, so I didn't know where to stick him. And obviously, I'm not a manager.
Yeah,
there he goes again.
Does he agree? Does he disagree? That was a vehement yes or a vehement no. I'm not sure which.
It was a yes, he's not a manager, I think.
I did a team as well. It's slightly different. If you play a back three, I put Bolly in just as a possibility with Murillo. Then I have Aina, Dominguez, Anderson, Williams, and then Gibbs-White kind of shuffled. So effectively, he'd be an extra man in midfield. Then Sangare's unlucky to miss out there, but Dominguez has been great. This is if you go with a back three. I suppose it's difficult, Greg, isn't it? Because Sangare and Dominguez have been two of our best players, but we haven't looked very secure at the back. And if you do make a change in formation, it's probably have to be one of them that misses out. So there's going to be some kind of sacrifice there, because we might stick with those lads, but we haven't looked like keeping a clean sheet for weeks, have we now?
No, I'd have kept Dominguez in. Has he just got in the Argentina squad?
A preliminary squad, yeah.
Oh, fantastic achievement. Again, shows how well we've done this season. Yeah, I like that one, Matt. I think if we are going to have three at the back, it's just the Bolly thing. I think Murillo, I don't know why I think Murillo will be fit, but he was close by the sounds of it, wasn't he? So I think he'll be there, and that'll be a great boost for us. And then we've still got defenders on the bench if needed.
Do you worry about us defensively, Ian? Because against Leicester, we were in control, but then we could have conceded 4 goals in that game.
Yeah, it's not been great of late, has it? I don't really know, because that was been our strength throughout the season. So I don't really know what's gone wrong, whether it's just tiredness or just people switching off, poor communication. I mean, there was a bit of when Aina came back, there was a little bit of poor communication between him and Milenkovic and Sells at times. Yeah, I mean, it worries me a little bit, which is obviously why I think that 3 at the back would probably help us out.
I worry that a lot of our players aren't fully fit either. I was thinking about the amount of changes Man City make and other teams are making at this time, and I don't think Oleraina's fit. Like, he's in the second half of games, he's not able to get forwards and things like that. So maybe a shake-up will give us a bit more security when it comes to that. So yeah. What about Sangare, Greg? We haven't spoken much about him this week. He was my man of the match. Have you been impressed with him since he's come back in?
Yeah, I think there was always a feeling that there was a player in there, and he's never been anything close to taking off at Forest. You know, he's still a kind of substitute, might get in the team if there's a couple of injuries type player, but the last couple of times he's played ever so well. And that his kind of role is the role where you shouldn't really be talking about him if he gets a good job done, isn't it? And I felt like he did do that on Sunday. So yeah, if he plays this weekend, then good, fair play to him. He's deserved it. Are
you bothered about Conference League versus Europa League, Greg, by the way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If we get Europa League, if Man City win on Saturday and we get Europa League, I'll be delighted. And I know I've always spoke about Champions League, and it's still very much a possibility. Like, it really is. We've just got to go for it. These last 2 games, treat it like it's a playoff semi-final or something. These last 2 games, we've really got to get results to give us a chance. But we don't deserve that Conference League. We could win it. Great. West Ham won it the other year. You barely remember it. Europa League is a titan of a cup. It's huge. Like, the teams we could potentially play, I keep looking and seeing that, you could be going to Dortmund and they could be coming here and teams like that. And I know Conference League will have that, but it won't have the same feeling. We deserve Europa at least. And hopefully City do us a favour. There's usually me thinking, oh, Man City have won the cup already, but now it means something. I'm thinking, God, Palace do look good, don't they? So yeah, just hopefully City do us a favour on Saturday and at least get us that. That's the least we deserve.
One last point on the game that I hadn't thought of. I think Ian spoke about being freed up and shackles off. Comment here about Nuno's subs. A lot of people have been annoyed with them. Felt quite conservative and certainly haven't had the impact Nuno would have wanted. I'm sure. Would you like to see Nuno himself just go for it, Ian, with the changes he makes in game as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit harsh on Nuno because I mean he has. I think he's got most of it right this season. I mean, not all subs are going to come off, are they? I mean, I don't know. I mean, against Leicester, I was a little surprised that when we went 2-1 up that he didn't bring Bolly on and go for the sort of try and shut it down like he has done in the past. I was sat there watching the game. I was doing Match of Day 2 and I sat behind Danny Murphy. And when that second goal went in, he went, there you go. And I went, oh, we're going to need a third. And he went, no, you're all right. And I said, no, mate, this is Forest. We're going to need a third. And that, played out, didn't it? So, yeah, I mean, I don't really know. Is the honest answer.
It's strange how he's gone away from 3 at the back. The sub now is to take off one of the midfielders and bring Yates on and try and shut it down that way. And it hasn't really worked. 3 at the back.
Well, Yates hasn't really got into the game the last 2 times he's come on.
No, he hasn't.
Quite surprising.
Yeah, he hasn't made much of an impact the last 2 times at all. Sangare has done well. He took him off the right correctly at Palace, but I think he might have left him on, and Dominguez was flying. So I thought the change was, bring a winger on or bring a centre-half on. I mean, I thought bring a winger on, to be honest, and go for a third because Leicester were absolutely awful. I think that was the frustration. I think Leicester were as bad as Southampton, actually, until they brought Buonanotte on and Thingy on. The youth who came on, I can't remember his name. Was there a perception in the ground, Greg, about Nuno's subs being frustrating, or is that a wider thing?
I'd say that's a wider thing. I don't think people... I think there's an understanding that there's a lack of options at the minute. Obviously, the chain of events that happened on Sunday were just crazy. And I think we'd have all, including Nuno, done something different if we'd have had a second chance. So, no, I don't think so. I don't think it's that big an issue so far. His favourite sub used to be the Morata, and then knowing that we're securing the win, but it's not that anymore, is it? Because I suppose teams are expecting it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thanks to Derek, it was Monga was the young lad who came on, who they'll do well to keep because he looks promising. Yeah, I think the subs thing oversimplifies it a bit. I mean, also players are missing chances that they weren't missing. Chris Wood scored a great goal but missed a header that could have given us the lead. Dominguez, I think Dominguez should have done a lot better with that chance. As great as he was, the one where he headed it, and we could have and should have probably killed that game before. And the manager isn't totally to blame for that. Right, we'll talk transfers after the break, but just before we do that, a word of thanks for Home Move Estate Agents and another property this week, which I shall show you now. This is a 1-bed flat on Huntingdon Street, right in the city centre. It is on the market for £80,000 and it's currently letting at £800 a month, which according to Ben Sales makes it the perfect investment property. Brings in a net income of around 9.2%. And if any of you have watched Homes Under the Hammer, where they're trying to sell a crack den in Stoke or something, you'll know that 9.2% is a very healthy rental yield. So definitely worth checking out. I'll put the link in the description for that one. And thanks as ever to Home Move for their support. Right, let's talk transfers then. It is always a crack den in Stoke, isn't it? Or somewhere on the south coast. They always seem to be the same place.
You said it.
It's true. Dion Dublin saying, there's lots to work with here as the walls are falling down around him. But fortunately, this property that we just advertised is nothing like that and looks like a great investment. Right, let's talk transfers, round up a load of rumours in the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. I think it was Dharmesh Sheth, Sky Sports, Ian saying Man United are interested in Callum Hudson-Odoi. 1 year left on his contract. Are you worried about Hudson-Odoi's future or not?
Not particularly. I mean, if you were Hudson-Odoi, would you really want to go to United at the moment? And also Elanga could probably fill him in very nicely with what it's like there and how it's probably better to be at City Ground where you're playing every week and you're adored by your fellow teammates and your fans. So that I think that's probably just like a paper talk thing. I mean, our players are going to get linked with everybody because they've been tearing the league up all season. So I would imagine everybody this summer will get linked with somebody or other. But it's all very well a club coming in for a player, but a player's got to want to go as well.
Good comment here. TGB Seymour. They don't play with wingers. They play with wing backs and 210s. But Hudson-Odoi is not a wing back at all. So I don't know why they would be in for. I know Ahmad's done a really good job. I mean, Manu could pay him more than we could, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't see it. Any thoughts on that one, Greg?
I'd be surprised. I mean, from where we got him from for the 3 million or whatever it is to potentially what you could sell him for, it'll be big for the books, wouldn't it? But if he's fit next season and we keep Elanga, then those two are going to create so much for us, and it's the type of tactics that we build around. So I think it'd take a lot, even though he's only got a year left, for him to go. Whereas maybe if he does want a different challenge, he runs his contract down and has a year in Europe with us, then I'd say that's the better option for him.
I banned mystery guest from the chat because he was getting quite distracting and putting me off. So that's why. If people,
I didn't even want to mention it.
Is it Steve Allen? I don't know.
Brilliant. I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
I don't know. It was getting a bit much. It was quite funny to start with, and then the 100th comment started putting me off. Right, who else have we got on the transfer list? There was just one that Liam O'Brien was linked with. Oh, I've forgotten the team. That's really good. I'm gonna have to dig that out. Who it was? But it was pretty championship team, I think. Tammy Abraham. I'll throw him at you, Ian. He had a great first season in Milan, but he's not done a lot this season. You think he's only got 3 goals, 2 years left in his contract at Roma. Milan don't want to sign him. He's really struggled since a big ACL injury that's really seems to have set him back. Enough red flags there for you or not?
Yeah, I mean, doesn't fill me with a huge excitement, to be honest. I think there are better names out there that we will be linked with. I would much rather go for a Delap or somebody of that ilk than Tammy Abraham at the moment.
What about Delap? That was in the John Pertwee article, Greg, which I place a lot more stock in than some of these. Is Delap the one for you as the striker?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about him at Christmas. He's such an obvious long-term replacement for Wood, and if that's the kind of way we play with that big striker who can hold it up as well and get his head on it, he's the perfect person for us. But I think the majority of the summer transfer window, he's going to be heavily involved for so many kind of teams in and around that top 6, that top 10, I suppose, teams. They'd all take him, I'd imagine. So it'd be fantastic for us to get him. It really would.
I found out who O'Brien was. It was Wrexham. That's why it caught my eye. It was quite interesting. They might pay a wedge for him. Did you see about they're linked with Tom Kearney? They're going to pay him 50 grand a week or something. That's all the reports. Absolutely crazy. Loses its romanticism there a bit, certainly. Right, the other striker we are... Derek, has been absolutely loving Tammy Abraham for years. So he would love it if we signed him. I'm not so sure myself if he's not showing any form and he's going to want a load of money. I think it feels like too much of a gamble, wages wise, more than anything else. Dusan Vlahovic is another one who's mentioned. Robert is a Genius mentions his wages are huge. The only report I've seen said that he'd make about 300 grand a week, which I don't see how we could possibly pay. But he's a top player, 25. He's probably available for about 20 million, 25 million season last year of his contract. 9 goals, 4 assists this season for Juventus, which is below par for him, but he's been exceptional for quite a while. Big, strong player, good left foot. I know we haven't seen huge amounts of him as fans, Ian, but is that one that's exciting but unrealistic, or do we have to recalibrate?
Yeah. More exciting than Abraham for me. Obviously, with his Serbian links as well, with Milenkovic, I think he'd fit in quite well. Not a great goal scoring this season, but the previous season, I think he got almost double that. So he obviously knows where the net is. But yeah, what do you say, 25, is he?
Yeah. So just entering his best years.
That's the sort of age that I think we should be getting linked with, rather than players who are nudging 28, 29, 30, getting towards the end of their career anyhow.
I think Milenkovic is one of his best mates. I've read that one, but he's obviously in the Serbian national team with him, so he's a good shout. Mateta's name keeps coming up as well in the chat. So some interesting ones there. Have you seen anything of him, Greg, or should we move on?
No, I haven't.
Let's move on then.
I only watch Forest at the minute. That's it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. You'll have seen Andreas Pereira then, who we're linked with again, the Fulham player. Played number 10 for them a lot, but he's taken a bit of a back seat or played a deeper role this year. He's only got 2 goals, 6 assists, but he's in the final year of his contract, so I'd imagine the fee will be a little lower. He's 29. I don't know. What do you think, Greg? If he's coming in as competition, I hope he's not coming as a replacement for Gibbs-White if he goes, but competition maybe.
Yeah, I do think Gibbs-White. I'd be surprised if Gibbs-White's here next season. I would. I think we're going to have to make that massive sale to get the 5 players in that we clearly want and need. And I think that's the key of getting, as a minimum, Europa League and not the conference, because Europa League will attract a different calibre of player than the conference stuff. And then again, Champions League, gosh, even the sponsorships and everything, it'd be incredible. So I'm sure we have an A, B, C and D list, and I'm sure every single one of these players we've mentioned are on there. But they're going to come, aren't they? It's not going to be as wild as other years, but I think 4 or 5 signings is definitely realistic and needed.
Let's dip into the chat because there's loads of names been dropped in. A lot of people are liking Mateta. Can we get Kluivert from Bournemouth? Don't know.
Doubt that. With
yeah, he's had a good year. He is a penalty merchant, which I think obviously they all count, but it puts a big slant on players' figures.
Yeah, we don't get penalties either, do we? Really, we're not.
No,
we haven't got the ball enough.
We'd have to sign Evan Nielsen to win them for him because I think he wins them all for him. So I'm not sure about that. Yuri Alberto is another one that we've been linked with for a while. Will said about Fernandez of Southampton. What about him? And McAtee, Ian, were in that article, both young players. Even if it's not those particular players, is though the brackier players you'd like to see us go for?
Yeah, I think so. Then sort of the Elanga, Hudson-Odoi sort of players that are still young, still can develop. I like the look of both of them. McAtee, I think we'd only get him as like a make-weight and a Gibbs-White deal, to be honest. Which sort of don't necessarily want to see that happen. Oh, by the way, the Hudson-Odoi thing just reminded me. I was on my dog walk yesterday, and there was somebody parked up with a license plate that had CHO on it, and I had to do a little detour to make sure it wasn't Callum because I live in South Manchester. You see, I didn't want to think that he was like shopping for houses, but it wasn't him. All right.
Good. Now, Pat has put up Diogo Jota's name for about 3 months, so we'll tackle that. What about Jota, Greg? Because he might leave Liverpool. He's a top player. He cannot stay fit. Would that make it too much of a problem that he can't stay fit?
It just depends, doesn't it? Because you cannot stay fit by look sometimes, or you just literally you're not a fit person, and any medical will show that now, won't they? If it was just a load of bad luck, but if he does stay fit, I'd have him certainly, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just his injury record puts me off. He's a great finisher and a top player. I think he'd be a great signing.
It would stop him scoring against us if he was on our team.
Yeah, that's true. Harry says about Kevin Schade, who's having a great season, or second half of the season, certainly for Brentford. I would absolutely love us to sign Palhinha, as Owen says, if they let him go. Semenyo, another Bournemouth player. Not sure they'd let him go, but he's had a good season, shoots a lot. I feel like we can rule out Osimhen and Gyökeres and all those players. They feel, especially if we don't get Champions League, that would be out of it for me. Who is Fabian Luiz? I'm not enough of a football hipster to know who he is. I mean, David Luiz, or am I missing someone there, Harry? I don't know. Showing my lack of knowledge there. I think that's about it, really. Other people not necessarily convinced by Pereira. Right, I think that covers everything. Oh, Darwin Núñez as well was a shout, but I don't think we'll get any of them. What are my thoughts on the returning players? Who's coming back on loan? Omobamidele's done well. He's had a good season, second half. But Strasbourg.
Is Binden coming back to us then after the summer?
Yeah, I think he's going to go out on loan. Everyone's absolutely raving about him. I can't believe they're raving.
Is he the Reading guy?
Yeah, everyone absolutely loves him. But I don't think we've seen him yet. He's getting incredible reviews for Reading in League One. I think he needs a championship season, probably. I don't know. I'd imagine. We've got the lads who are on loan at Olympiacos. If we're not in the same competition, I won't be surprised if they just stay there. Stamenic, I think he's played but hasn't done anything amazing. People were saying about David Carmo being a big one. I was speaking to an Olympiacos podcast guy, and he said he's been disappointing and he's got a mistake in him. So he might need another year or something. I don't know, but he says he tries to do too much and gets caught out. But he's got a big reputation. Ruben Neves is another one I've seen sort of half floated around. I would absolutely love us to sign Ruben Neves. I think he might only have a year left in Saudi Arabia, but he's not going to drop from his 500 grand a week very far.
Matt Turner's coming back.
Matt Turner, yeah. I can't see him making much of an impact. So I think that just about covers everything on that list. Let me just check, and then we shall move on. Adrian Trufair was the other one in the Percy article. Do we have to sign a fullback, Greg? A top fullback, do you think?
Yeah, definitely. We should be having our fullbacks on certain sides, not having to flip from one to the other to fill in the gaps. So yeah, I think we do. I think that's one of the 5 spots for me. At least one striker.
Are you releasing Harry Toffolo?
I think Harry Toffolo is such a fantastic player, and every time he plays for us, he plays well, and he's just become a circumstance of our success, really. I think he's a Premier League fullback for certain, but he's just not going to get game time with us. And if he plays next season, then we probably haven't recruited strong enough. So I'd love to see him in the Premier League still, and he's a fantastic person. He's been brilliant on the community side of things, and whenever he plays for us, he plays well. So if he's happy being that bit part player for us and, lives locally and all that, then great. But if not, he deserves to be playing every week because he's a top player.
You were nodding along, Larry, and you keep him with you.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the injury to Aina and obviously the Wembley suspension showed us how sort of limited we are in those positions. So you need backup. You can't always rely on your first choice players being fit week in, week out for 38 games a season. And also with the European competition, you might get some easier ties that you can play your second string, especially if you've already qualified or you're doing well. So you're going to need them players to give your first 11 a bit of a rest anyhow.
Yeah, that's good. If we're in the Conference League as well, I mean, you can just play your reserve players in those early rounds, surely, to get through there. Fergus says Harvey Elliott as well. Too rich at 35 million, Ian, or not, if that's the price?
I just can't get over his haircut. If he has a haircut, I'll have him.
That's
I'm
exactly
not having him with that bonce.
Oh dear. What about you, Greg? For a football answer, if you want, or a hair answer?
Yeah, I'd take Harvey Elliott straight away. Straight away, definitely. I think we're in the position now that we've never been in. Even when we were finishing third in the last Premier League, it was a different time off the pitch. We've got the backing, we've got guaranteed European football, and we want to stay in that top 6. We're not here for just the one season, as some pundits would like to think we are. That we're just going to build now. If we sell Gibbs-White, it's going to be for the positive of our team. We're going to use that money to it and reinvest it and get these players. And the recruitment team's done fantastic recently with the Brazilian fines and Milenkovic fine and all things like that. So I'm certain they'll do it again. But I do think we're going to have to buy at least one, make a big signing as well.
Is your lunch hour running out? I forget.
It is. I've got to go. To be honest.
Any final words before you go? I saw you checking your watch for quite.
Just make as much noise as possible on Sunday, and do not give up. Stop saying it's all right and we're not going to do this. We've still got a massive chance. Give us this at the start of the season to be 2 games away from Champions League, and you would absolutely take it. So the players are going to believe that they can get something on Sunday, and we should too. Just be loud.
Lovely stuff. Right, we shall let Greg go. See you soon, Gregory.
See ya. Good to speak to you, Ian.
Bye.
Cheers, mate.
Right, we'll wrap up with Ian in just the next minute or two. Robbo mentions Dale Taylor, who's done really well at Wigan, and Joe Gardner as well, who had a decent stint at Lincoln. 2 talented young lads. Right, any final words from you, Ian, before we go?
No, just bit of Ted Lasso. Believe it can happen.
You a Ted Lasso fan?
I thought it was all right. We watched it all. I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. I found some of the characters a bit annoying, but
Well, Ted.
I thought he was all right. I found it difficult to sort of get into some of the other characters, but there you go.
I liked it. It was good. But I did find him quite a bit too saccharine, certainly. A couple of any other business, or one from me quickly. I should say we'll be back on Sunday. Post-match show is with Lewis, Emily, and Ruby. So join us for that on Sunday. I'll say happy wedding anniversary to my wife because I forgot. But not again, but almost every year. But she forgets every year as well. Yeah, I'll say happy wedding anniversary. She forgets and we forget because it's always so close to our son's birthday. So happy anniversary to her.
Have you remembered his birthday?
That's what the thing. If you can remember his birthday, it's all the prep for it, isn't it? Like, I mean, yeah. How old are your kids again?
13 and 10.
Are you past birthday parties then, or are you just clinging on with a 10-year-old?
No. So the 13-year-old wants to go down like Laser Quest and that with his mates and go down the arcades. And my daughter's still into crafting and things like that. So still plenty going on.
Yeah, well, we've got a bouncy castle and some reptiles coming, like snakes and stuff. So what could possibly go wrong there? Not sure. The other thing I was going to say, thanks to everyone who tweeted us about the Radio Academy Awards. Went there on Wednesday to lose again another award, but it was a nice evening. Saw Matt Ford, and there were lots of celebrities there as well. But it was nice. Fortunately, we didn't win, but maybe we shall win the next time. Well done to Duncan Barber, who put it all together with his colleague Volcan, who did all the sound. Check it out. It's the one called Forest of Magic from the Fulham game, if you scroll back that far. Right. Thanks very much to everyone who has joined us today. Do us a favour, if you haven't already, if you're one of the 300 people watching, do hit like, do hit subscribe, consider membership or Patreon, or just a lovely 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. And I do read all the Apple ones as well. Right. Thanks very much for everyone's company. Thanks for Ian's company. Have a good day, everyone. If we don't see you tomorrow, we shall see you soon.